Blog Talk Radio.
Alternative facts.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. At 12:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, numerous unidentified objects of unknown intent and unknown origin were detected at high altitudes over multiple locations of Earth's outer space by the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, and these objects are presumed to be some form of controlled aircraft. It is not known if more of these aircraft will arrive, or if they will attempt entering Earth's atmosphere. United States citizens are encouraged to monitor local media outlets, as more updates will follow as information becomes available. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. Attacks by the undead have been reported in several states across the country. The dead are rising from their graves and are attacking the human race. At this time, it is expected that more attacks of this nature will occur in several other states in the next few hours. The intent behind the attack is unknown at this time. He has been observed that a bike or exchange of fluids is a method of transmission. This is an extremely dangerous situation if they crave the taste of human flesh. It is not known whether this event will last for hours, days, or even longer. Stay calm, as authorities have been dispatched to deal with these creatures. An all-clear siren will be sounded when this situation is under control. Pacific Standard Time, nor is detected a long-range nuclear missile launcher. This missile is believed to be headed in the direction of all residents within a 400-mile radius of this area should seek a fallout shelter immediately.
Welcome to Within the Chaos with your host, Rodney the Viking Shortridge. I want to give a big old shout out to the Facebook paranormal groups that allow us to post our shows on their pages and helping us to get the word out about all of our guests. If anyone would like to speak to Black Diamond Paranormal Society, BDPS, to discuss your paranormal questions or issues, go to our website at blackdiamondps.org or email blackdiamondps@yahoo.com. As always, our services are free.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. You can listen in by calling 516-387-1922, or you can go to the Vibe Radio Network website at blogtalkradio.com/Vibe Radio Network. For deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for listening to Within the Chaos. My name is Rodney Shortridge, and I'll be your host tonight. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to my cousins up in Ohio, Jennifer and Joe Shortridge of 222 Paranormal. If you get a chance, check out their talk show. You can find them on Facebook under 222 Paranormal.
Have your devices just randomly stopped working? Are you having IT trouble? Not to worry, Mead's PC Repair Shop can help. We also offer IT support too, including website hosting. We are now also offering full event management services. To find out more, contact our friendly customer service team who will gladly help in any situation. Just call 276-880-8900, or if you prefer, you can stop by our shop at 1089 St. Clair Street, Oakwood, Virginia 24631 by appointment only, or by visiting the website at meadspcshop.com for more information. Thank you.
Phantom Fest 2019 is hosted and sponsored by Black Diamond Paranormal Society, Blog Talk Radio within the Chaos and Elk Garden School Community Ministry. The Phantom Fest is geared for the like-minded and enthusiasts and researchers in the fields of the paranormal, UFOs, cryptozoology, comics, horror films, gamers, cosplay, metaphysical, spiritual, artists, authors, ancient civilizations, tattoo artists, unexplained mysteries, superheroes, FX horror artists, steampunk, costume contest, sci-fi and so much more. The fest offers a unique and interesting outlook on the abnormal. The Phantom Fest will be held on November 2nd, 2019 at the Russell County Conference Center 139, Highland Drive, Lebanon, Virginia. Starting at 10 a.m. and going to 6 p.m. Tickets are $7 per person, ages 0 to 6 are free. 4 tickets can be reduced to $5 per person with 2 non-perishable food items, to be donated to the Elk Garden School Community Ministry to help families during the Thanksgiving season. Any non-perishable food donations will be happily received. Also, we will have a free costume contest for all ages. Guest speakers, returning this year, Bill and Chris Reap of Reap Investigations, Giant researcher Heather Arnold. New to this year's Phantom Fest guest speakers, Dave Spinks, Ron Whitehead, Jake Fife, Chad Zumwalt and Whitney Benson, Amy Green, Barry Gaunt, Cosplay Bridget Baker, CNC Paranormal Investigations, Dennis S. Block, Geo-Origis Girls Heather Taylor and Micah Taylor, Haunted MD Donald Molnar, Lucky Bel Camino, Michelle Wagner, and Rebecca Smoot. Special appearances by Cosplay Bridget Baker, Martial Arts Christian Yaya Thompson and Token Nihilist Cosplay, Arthur Stump, Grace N. Lehman, Raphael Bertiz and the Whiteville Ghostbusters. Find us on Facebook Phantom Fest, www.facebook.com/PhantomFest. Our website, www.phantomfest.org. Our email, phantomfest1@yahoo.com. For more information, please contact Rodney Shortridge at 276-970-1456 or Josh Mead at 276-880-8900 extension 1259.
Lord mercy, I can't believe it. We go 2-3 months with no rain, and then we get it all in one day. Oh, it's been terrible. And plus, we go from 70-some degrees, and then it's going to get cold down to 30s, all within just a few hours. So, anybody out there that's enjoying this Halloween storm, be careful, bundle up, because you're either going to be wet or you're going to get cold or both. So, hang in there. It's supposed to clear up within a day or so. But tonight, on our Halloween special, our special guest is Larry Battson, also known as Larry's Animal Guy. Larry's been working with wild animals for nearly 40 years. He and his wife, Cheryl, visit over 200 schools each year with their collection of exotic animals. Larry's animals have appeared on Johnny Carson's The Daily Show and Oprah. He has worked with the Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, and a regular for over 30 years on Channel 8 WISH-TV. Larry has also done promotional work for Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Larry has presented information about Bigfoot, Sasquatch at many conferences. An especially interesting account involves a former park ranger employed in Yellowstone National Park who experienced a family of Sasquatches for over a 25-year career in the park. Larry is also an amazing artist. He didn't add that. He didn't have that in his bio. I kind of added that because if you ever see any of his work, you know what I mean. This man's great. So let me go ahead and click him on here. It's my honor to welcome back my friend, the amazing Larry the Animal Guy, and I did not click him on. There.
Oh man.
Oh, how you doing, Mr. Larry?
Well, you know what happened? We had like snow today. I mean, accumulating snow, and we were moving gators today. I said, it's time to move them. We got the snow, so it was like, so I had to recruit my wife Cheryl, and I got two of them in yesterday. They like to kill me, Rodney. I'm telling you, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Had come in and sit down on the couch for a minute. So I said, we're going to save this last, the big one, Baxter. He's an 8.5 foot one. I don't know what he weighs, a lot. But I said, we'll do him tomorrow while I recover. And I moved the other two by myself, which was dumb. Should have had Cheryl there with me. So we decided, we got going on today, and, we had it moved inside in about 10 minutes, which is pretty quick. And no blood. No blood. That's the most important part. At least our blood. No.
But the good thing is, if it did, as cold as it is, I'm pretty sure it'd freeze up real quick.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've been bitten by about everything. But the darn old alligator, he'll do more damage in a short period of time than anything. It's amazing. Just amazing. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you come back on. But when a gator bites you, do they like bite and twist, or how exactly? How does that work with them?
Well, it's a variety of bites. Now, it depends what they're wanting to do. Now, if they want to eat you, it's a bite, hold on, and twist, because they're trying to dismember you. That's not good.
No.
Now, if they just give you, I'll tell you the instance that I'm thinking about is we have a friend who has a couple, he raises fish, and he brings bluegills over to feed the alligators in the summertime. Well, he come over with his wife, Glenn Baker, God rest his soul. And Cheryl's up there, standing there with me. We're looking at Baxter, the biggest one, and she says, "What's wrong with his foot?" And I said, "Oh, well, let me look." So I go in there. Now the key to the whole deal, Rodney, is you can't be in the circumference of the tip of the nose to the tip of the tail, because if you're in that circumference, you will get bit or eaten. You got to either be inside the circumference or outside the circumference. In other words, what I usually try and do is basically jump on the alligator's back. And he can twist around and stuff, but he can't get you too easily. And, that particular day, I was in the circumference. I was right in the line of fire. And as soon as I walked up behind me, he come around, and my whole kneecap was in his mouth. But it was just what we call a jab bite, and they let go. And nobody said a word about it. The people that brought the fish, Cheryl, don't fight it. I wouldn't look at it because I was afraid to. And Cheryl said, "Do you have a kneecap left?" I said, "I don't know. That kind of hurt. That was not good." And it turned out okay. I mean, just 4 nice puncture wounds, but yeah. So moving alligators is always an adventurous day.
Oh, I think so.
Well, when I was young and dumb, I didn't know that the key to it, to make your job twice as easy, because it's dangerous enough as it is to keep them out until it gets down to 40 degrees, and they're basically just, they're just like moving sacks of potatoes. But not really. I mean, their reflexes are slowed down a little bit, but they still try the attack mode. So yeah. But anyway.
Well, what animal have you been bitten by that is actually hurt the worst?
Well, to my pocketbook, well, in general, a timber rattlesnake.
Mm-hmm.
I was bitten in 79, 3 days in intensive care and a week in the hospital, and they, yeah, that wasn't any fun at all. That was, but I sure saw a lot of doctors because they don't get snake bites in St. Louis. I was doing a show in a shopping mall in St. Louis, Missouri, and I took along, a friend of mine that lives in the Everglades sent me an eastern diamondback rattlesnake that was well over 7.5 feet long. He was the biggest one I'd ever seen. His head was the size of my hand. And so that's the one I was going to use in the show. Well, little did I know that the stage that the shopping mall had for the show had a skylight over it, sun beaming down. And it looked beautiful, but you take a rattlesnake that just come out of the Everglades and you put him in that environment, he thinks he's back home. And in fact, there were shoe salesmen that were taking bets on which show I was going to get bit because it was getting close. I mean, it was something else. So the guy I was with, he says, "Why don't you just use that timber rattlesnake?" I said, "Oh, okay, just and let that eastern diamondback cool down a little bit." Okay. So at that time we had a mobile exhibit we take into the shopping malls with snakes and lizards and stuff, and I had that timber rattlesnake in there, and I was putting him in a bag, and he was crawling over the lip of the bag, head out. So what does smart me do? I take the flat of my hand and bounced it off the end of his nose to try and knock him back down in the bag, because my other hand was holding the bag. Mm-hmm. He just come right out and bit me. I mean, there was no hesitation about it at all. So we were getting ready to do a show, and I thought, maybe it's a dry bite, because 25% of the time they don't even inject any venom, especially if they're going to protect themselves, because it's just such a quick reflex action versus trying to kill their prey where they kind of hang on to it. But no, it wasn't. I had gotten it because I'm waiting to do the show. I was going, I'm not feeling too good at all. This is not right.
Ooh.
And I went down to the shopping mall office. I said, I had a little accident. I'll be back for the evening show. And they said, what happened? I said, I got bit by one of my rattlesnakes in the trailer exhibit, in the back, behind the scenes. And they said, well, we'll call the hospital. I said, yeah, well, keep this, don't tell anybody, because this is kind of embarrassing. First day I'm there and this happens. Mm-hmm. So I get to the hospital, and they've got a full squadron of nurses and doctors waiting for me. And they wheel me in there and start looking it over. And then I realized, Rodney, that they were basically treating me like they bake a cake. They had a little book there that they were going, well, the next thing we should do is, because they just don't see it very often. Mm-hmm. But I knew what was the most painful part of that whole deal wasn't being bitten by the rattlesnake. It wasn't giving me too much antivenom, which they did. It was when they held me down and where I was bitten, they were going to lance it on the palm of my hand, and they said, hold him down. And I thought, oh, no. And that, I'll tell you what, that's the only time I think I cursed during that whole episode, the week that I was involved with this, was when they lanced the palm of my hand. It was like, oh.
Oh,
then they're wheeling me out of the emergency room into the intensive care, and the nurse comes up to me and she says, do you have a religious preference? I told her, I said, I'm not going to die. I've got a show to do at least by tomorrow. And the whole place erupted in laughter because they knew I was going to be stuck there for about a week. So it was
like, you're not going nowhere, no complaint.
No, you're not going anywhere. You want to fool around with those snakes, what the heck? This is, you asked for it, buddy. But I'll tell you, when I got out of the hospital, I got out on a late Saturday. Oh, then my partner, or the guy that came up with me, he was checking in on me every so often, and they just moved me to a regular room on the fourth day. And he goes up to intensive care, and where my bed was, the curtain was drawn because they're probably, changing whatever. So he goes up to a nurse and he taps her on the shoulder. He goes, "Did he die?" She turns around. She goes, "Who?" She goes, "Mr. Battson." "Oh, no, he's in a regular room." But yeah, so that was. Then I had Nurse Ratchet. The last day I was there, she said I needed to be walking around down the hallway and get my exercise. I said, "I don't need any exercise. I'm watching this baseball game." I said, "I'm getting out of here a little bit. Just go away. Leave me alone." That deal. So that's the worst one.
It sounded like it was. I know in my area, timber rattlers and all that. I've never got to see any, and if I did, I would actually. I know I'm a fat boy. Even back then, I would run a very fast way.
Well, what really usually bugs people, it's almost like seeing Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
When you see a rattlesnake, you realize, well, they are out here. They're not seen very often. They are out here. So I really should watch every step I take, when you see one right there in front of you, you realize this. And that's what happens when people have a sighting. It's the same deal. Whenever they go in the woods, they're looking for that. It's basically ruined their getting the outdoors experience.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like it no more because the woods have these big hairy guys in it. So it changes. I tell them when I do a lecture, I tell them it makes going out in the outdoors a heck of a lot more interesting.
I've never heard it put that way. I just see these big hairy men out here in the woods, man. And I'm telling you, I am done with that shit. I'm sorry, people. They was like 10 foot tall, 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. And they don't tell nobody. They just don't want to go. Their desire to go camping and stuff or hiking is just like, And I've talked to more than one coon hunter that's had a sighting. I said, "Will you show me where it was at?" He says, "I'll draw you a map." He says, "But I ain't going back there." And no way. It ain't going to happen. I've had that told to me numerous times. And the funniest thing, the people, you go to these Bigfoot conferences, you got all these guys, these researchers, they call themselves. And I don't know what they're researching. It's like, it's just great. But you get somebody that has seen one legitimately, or maybe has them around their home, and they ain't looking for them. I mean, they just soon they leave. They don't. Why document about this thing? Because nobody's ever going to believe it, So it's like, man. But yeah.
Wow.
So it changes your whole outdoor experience. Either seeing a rattlesnake in the wild changes it, because then you realize, God, I could have stepped on that thing. My God, look how it blends in.
Mm-hmm.
And what the timber rattlesnakes are notorious for. In fact, the first one I ever caught, the entire time, it never rattled.
Mm-hmm.
And they're notorious for that. So, yeah, you realize how they blend in. They don't rattle that much. That you could just step, and I guarantee they'll bite you. I'm the first guy that'll tell you that. So, and that one that bit me that day wasn't rattling. So.
Well, that's what I try to tell my kids when I was growing up, especially my daughters. My daughters are world's worst. Looking straight ahead, not looking down or looking around, their surroundings. And I told them, one of these days you're going to either fall in a hole, you're going to get snake bit, something bad's going to happen. Thank goodness nothing bad happened to them, but they had fell down a lot. I don't understand with these people. They don't want to look down. Just, take a quick look down a little bit, what's going on. No, not my girl. No.
Well, now they got those damn bones. They're basically, their nose is glued to their phones now, so it's like,
yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean,
I don't think anybody can
then
walk. I've tried just to experiment myself, walking, just looking at my phone the whole time. I get dizzy. I can't. I lose. It's like I lose where I'm at. That's the direction.
well, you get bored. I get on Facebook a lot. I admit it. At night, I'll check out people's posts. Hell, I got 3,000 some darn friends, and I don't know. I only know maybe 30 of them. It's like, and it's just not. It's boring. I mean, the outdoors has a lot more to offer than that silly phone. I mean, my gosh, it's boring.
Yeah, now my baby daughter, she always liked playing in the dirt with me when I was working the garden or whatever, building.
Yeah.
Now my oldest daughter, no, I get her out to help me. Can you hand me the level? And she'll hand it to me, and I'm working on it. Then I'll be like, okay, now hand me the hammer, and I'm like, where the hell she go? And within that, just a couple of minutes, she disappeared back into the house. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
She's like, well, I thought you was done with me. No, we just got started.
Sounds like my wife talking to me. That sounds exactly like it. But yeah, I know it's a whole different. And God, the look of when I've told these youngsters, well, not even youngsters now, these millennials, that when we were growing up, we had to actually get up off the couch and go over and change the TV channel to one of the 4 channels that were on. You only had 4 channels? Yeah, only had 4 channels. Yep. And, black and white. It was like, man. But anyway, that's not spooky. That's not Halloween.
And you always was making deals with somebody to get up. Hey, I'll mow the yard next week if you get up during the channel.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's like, gosh, it's nuts.
Well, see how we're in the Halloween season, and Halloween tonight. Do you got any Halloween stories or anything? Halloween.
Oh yeah, sure. I was gonna say, where we live now, we've never had a trick or treater, and I was trying to tell everybody about one of my favorite treats I'd like to give out was what you do, Rodney, is when they come up and open up their bag, you just drop a handful of Doritos in there and give them nachos and then ladle some cheese sauce on top of them. And I'll tell you, the kids just love you.
Yeah.
They just think you're the best, especially when they're trying to soup out one of their Tootsie Rolls or something covered with cheese sauce.
They're like, I like Mr. Battson, but I tell you what, these nacho cheese, man, that's got to go.
Well, you know what that's good for, though, don't you? Get your house eggs in the old days.
Yeah, man, you get eggs, full of paper or whatever. Oh yeah.
Your windows soaped,
mm-hmm.
And guarantee that pumpkin's going to be smashed. And that won't last the night. Now, but yeah. Well, I was thinking of a Halloween story. We have a bridge. We have a covered bridge just like right across the. I don't know. It's probably 5 miles from us. In fact, it's called the Etna Mills Bridge. Mm-hmm. And students, we're right in the heart of DePaul University, and of course the high schools and so forth around. But kids will congregate around this bridge because the legend is that this stepmother took one of her stepchildren, a girl, to this bridge and basically drowned her in the creek.
Ooh.
This was in the 50s. And they claim, I've never been over there, but they claim if you stand over there, you can hear that little girl asking for help. You got to pull up into the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really had the fortitude to do that. Now, what's also interesting, on our property, we actually have Indian burial mounds. And the legend is that the Sasquatch will guard the Indian burial ground and protect them. And we have gone in there at night, and you feel a presence in that area that you do not want to stay around too long. I mean, it's almost immediate. Years ago, when I say years ago, I'm talking, 65 years ago. I forget. I kind of old. Me and a friend, in our neighborhood, there was this huge woods. Now it's all covered up with stores and filling stations and stuff. It was this wonderful woods. Now, in the middle of this woods was an old barn, and the barn was surrounded by a cornfield. It wasn't a big cornfield. And this is when we had transistor radios.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my friend Billy Young, we rode our bicycles over there, and we rode back to that old barn. We'd hang out that old barn and climb up into the loft, do like crazy stuff kids do. Well, I got home, and that night I realized, it was after dark, I realized I'd left my radio in the loft of that barn. So Billy Young, he said, well, let's go get it. I said, it's dark. He said, no, let's just go get it. What the heck? I said, well, let me get a flashlight. So I grabbed a flashlight, and we rode over there. And it was a good ride. It was like 2-3 miles to get to the woods. And we'd have to walk our bikes through the woods because there really wasn't a good trail. Then you get back to that field, and then in the middle of the field was that old barn. And I knew where I'd left the radio. It was up in the loft. So we walk our bicycles. It's a full moon, so you can basically see pretty darn good. So we're pushing our bicycles over there. We get to the barn, and I told Billy, I said, I'll go up and get the radio and we'll get out of here. So I'm walking up this ladder, and I get to the top of this ladder, and I shine my light where the radio was, and there stood this black man. And he gave me a look I'll still remember. And I basically just pushed my body off that ladder, and by the time I hit the ground, my feet were already moving. and we could hear him, hey, come back here. We could hear him yelling like that as we're pushing our bicycles through that cornfield to get back home. And, of course, I never saw that radio again. But I'll tell you what, that was probably the scariest I ever was, ever. It's because basically I was within 2 foot of him. As soon as I shine that light, I basically shine the light right in his face. Oh, and he must have been he obviously was staying up there. And that was, and that's a true story. I mean, that's.
Right. Well, what does the Native American and Bigfoot have a relationship that where, you explained where Bigfoot was pretty much guarding their cemetery or grave sites?
Well, the Native Americans consider them spiritual, as we all know, that's ever done any research on that subject. And the David Paulides, who wrote all the books, the Hoopa Project and Bigfoot Tribes or some Tribal Bigfoot, I think was the name of the other book, that he realized that the Native Americans don't really want to talk about him too much until they found out that David Paulides would buy him lunch. And so they would talk to him then, obviously. And they still didn't let up with any true information. They did this. He had a police artist do sketches from their descriptions. Well, do you give them a lie detector test while you're doing the sketch? Is my question. Or they're just making that up. And so I lost a lot of. I was first kind of intrigued with what he had written in his books on the subject and deal with the Native Americans, until my old friend John Green told me that. He says, he takes all those people he talks to, he interviews and does those sketches. He takes them out to lunch, and the word got around. And if you talk to him, just tell him whatever you want to tell him, you get a free lunch. So it's but one of the most intriguing Bigfoot was from a reservation in Washington. It was 5 miles south of the Canadian border. And in this reservation, there was 3 young men that went into the surrounding mountains to run the salmon nets. Well, they never come back. Now, all these tribes up there, there's an elder that his specialty is Sasquatch. He takes care of any of the incidents that involve the Sasquatch. So the elder and a couple of other gentlemen went looking for these guys. The first one they found, he was basically buried underneath these huge boulders. He was, of course, obviously dead. The second one had been basically torn to shreds. He'd been dismembered and left in a pile. But the third one, which I found most intriguing, was looked like grabbed by his ankles. And all the trees that surrounded him, where his body laid, the trees were covered in brain tissue.
Ooh.
So basically, grabbed by his ankles and beat up against those trees.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many years ago, I had a woman call me who was a Native American, and she'd heard about my research, or whatever you want to call it. I don't really like to call it that, just my interest in it, especially in the Morgan Monroe State Forest we have here in Indiana. And she told me, she said, I can call the Bigfoot people in, the star people, but you keep in mind, he says, there's 5 of them in this area, and you'll be risking your life. I just said, how is that? Because if you get between a male and a female, or the male and a baby, he will grab you by your ankles and beat you up against a tree. And then I remembered the report from Washington about this sheriff who heard coyote sounds one night. He was on patrol, and then he heard something that sounded kind of like coyote sounds, but it wasn't quite exact. And then the two sounds come together, and he says it sounded just like one heck of a fight. So as soon as it got light, he went to check out to see what had gone on there, and he found 3 coyotes laying at the base of this tree that had been killed by he could see that had been beaten up against that tree. Makes you want to go camping.
I always love it when you throw that in. Yeah, go to sleep and get thrown up against the tree. Well, are they?
Yeah, KOA would never hire me.
The suspense, and then bam, makes you want to go camp.
Yeah, makes you. They didn't think about the guys actually out there, these quote unquote researchers looking for them. So.
Oh yeah, I bet they don't sleep.
And a lot of them have. And a lot of them have found them. And when they realize, what the hell have I done? What kind of a mess have I got myself into here? So,
well,
I'll tell you what, we had a boy.
I mean,
go ahead.
You kind of threw me off when you mentioned the star people.
I'm sure on your show you've heard that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for people that may not know, maybe just listening to a good story about Bigfoot and Native Americans, and that they may not know what star people are.
No. Well, I've always said, I'm a wildlife educator. I go to school. I'll be going to school tomorrow and talking to kids about foxes and snapping turtles and that sort of thing, and pythons and baboons. So I've always said the only reason I'm interested in this is because it's another wildlife living thing. And if I saw one walk off a spaceship, I'm not interested in it anymore. I'm not chasing no aliens. I'm not chasing Bigfoot, but I know. People say, "Do you get out and do research?" I go, "Why?" I said, "I could walk out my door, taking out the trash one day, and walk into one. I mean, we have them around here." And I said, "I don't have to go." And like my wife says, if you're looking for it, you'll never find it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many guys have you talked to that's spent hours and hours and hours in the woods and have never even seen one?
Oh, I know. I've heard a lot of people.
John Green was one. He never saw one. And a lot of people don't realize this, but old Bob Gilman, he'd go on Bigfoot trips still. I don't think he does now, but 10 years ago, because we sat in a cabin in New York talking about that, and he was Bob Gimlin from the Patterson-Gimlin film,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about different places he'd been and pursuits and so forth.
So where is the highest amount of Bigfoot sightings, especially in North America? Is it in the Pacific Northwest, or is it that's just mainly a big one that everyone talks about, and maybe not much other places in America?
Well, here's the thing about that. If you look at a map where sightings have been reported, especially up in Canada, where they've been reported is 99% of the time around a small town. Now, there are gazillion acres in Canada that there's nothing there. No people. No. Zero. So those sightings, they don't happen. They don't occur. But when you look at some of the books, especially in the early books from John Green and so forth, they should mark where the sightings are. It's always around the city because that's where the people are, and that's that's how the sightings get reported. But the ones that are way back in, the millions of acres where there's just nothing except the wild critters and whatnot, nobody sees, has that happen, sees them.
Mm-hmm.
Even think about the millions of people that go through Yellowstone National Park each year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Sasquatches in there. And they do get reports. But not that many considering the amount of people that go through that park.
So do you think they're like most animals, especially around humans and cities and towns? They kind of, mosey in and look around and then get out.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's two things they are. They're unpredictable, totally. Or we'd have one sitting in the Brookfield Zoo and highly intelligent. I mean, basically, when we walk into the woods, we're morons. We're not adept at all. We don't have the muscles. We don't have the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, the eyesight day or night that they have. We're just pretty much like big slugs. Even the fittest outfitter, guys that are really in fantastic shape, you're still just a slug compared to them. I mean, there's we're not physically even close to any stretch of the imagination. So that's one. Again, that's one of the reasons. Then what are you looking for? You're looking for this, huh? Okay. So, and I'll tell you, most of the people I know that have seen them that weren't looking, and basically, maybe just driving down the road, one walks across the road in front of them in their car or something. You ask those people if they would want to see another one, their answer would be no. No, I don't. I absolutely do not. So that's always,
Well, it's like I told people about the one I seen down here. You know, they're like, well, you had a gun. Why didn't you shoot it? I'm like, because I was afraid I'd make it mad.
Or get attacked by the 2 or 3 that you don't see.
Exactly.
Because I mean, they modoc. I mean, they don't leave. They move out. You know, when you look at these videos, they're just kind of like walking around a little slow and stuff. As soon as I see that video, I'm going fake. There's one out now. I think it's a young one, and of course they're behind lots of branches, so you don't get that good a shot. And as soon as I saw it, the way that it moved and how fast it wasn't, I thought fake right away.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids that made that though did a pretty darn nice job with it though. There is some entertainment value at least it has that. But as far as being scientific evidence, no. The Patterson-Gimlin film, look how fantastic that is, and that isn't even scientific evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, people have been debating about that for 50 years now. Get over it, man. Move on. There it is. The debate's done. They've never proven that.
Well, what type of equipment do you think, if that these, like you said, researchers should be using to try to even? I mean, if you're trying to catch one, I mean, you're the animal expert on that. What could you use if you're trying to actually capture one?
What are you gonna? You think a bobcat in a snare trap is a demon to deal with? Can you imagine 9 foot of muscle and hair and oh my God!
An attitude.
Maximum attitude, and also his backups. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I know a guy that has a cabin 5 miles south. The one that told me the story about the reservation, and he had a friend ask if he could use his cabin one weekend. He said, "Well, you can, but keep in mind, now I've got Sasquatches around here." He didn't really believe him. So this guy goes up for the weekend, and he's in the cabin. He looks out the window, and this is the middle of the day. And he sees one standing next to a tree looking at that cabin. Probably wondering why he's there. And the other guy isn't. And so he says, I'm just going to, there it is. He was right. I'm just going to scare that away. So he tries to shoot the tree. Well, he misses. He shoots this thing right below the eye, and it drops. Mm. And within 3-4 seconds, here come another one, grabbed the body, slung it up over his shoulder, and walked off with it. And he called that guy. He says, you were right, and I just shot one. He goes, why in the hell did you do that? He said, lock every door and do not, as soon as it gets daylight in the morning, get the hell out of there. Move. So, and there's a lot of truth. You watch that film, Harry and the Hendersons, and at the very end where they just kind of appear. Mm-hmm. That's very factual. That's so factual. There's so many things, about that silly movie that's right on point.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, at night, Rodney, at night in the dark, their coloring and their ability to be quiet, they can be quiet if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
They could walk with them 2 foot of you. You'd never know it. Unless you smelled them. But they can be that quiet, and they blend in so well. They're invisible once the sun goes down. That's why I get a chuckle. When were the best Bigfoot films made? The Freeman film and the Patterson-Gimlin film, both in the daytime.
Mm-hmm. Nighttime
film is worthless.
Right.
It was like that show Not Finding Bigfoot. They'd always go walking around. Now, my God. Those guys are going through there. I was talking, you talk slugs. There's a prime example right there. And they're wandering through the woods with their cameras and hanging off their heads and their night lights and whatever hell else they got there. They're just making stupid TV. That's all that's about. You ain't going to do nothing. Oh, you going to hear them scream? Yeah, they scream and make a lot of different sounds. You're going to hear them
hit trees with wood. Yeah, they do that too. They make clucking sounds. They do it. That's then you got a recording that people listen to, and they still won't believe it because you say, well, how did he do that? What kind of machine made that recording? You know? Mm-hmm. Still proves nothing. It proves nothing. There's only one thing that's ever going to prove it. And I think after Mount is the body. That's it. That's the only thing that's ever going to prove it. Take all the pictures you want. Technology, this day and age, oh my gosh. It's crazy. No, I say to the kids.
I'm sorry. Do you think a Bigfoot is a humanoid, or do you think it's like maybe some branch off from more to ape or gorilla type primate?
No, it's not an ape or gorilla. It's not. It's smarter. It's. I've decided. A lot of people say the Neanderthal. I don't know if it's a Neanderthal or not, but it's a species in its own. Let's just put it that way. It's very wary, very rare. I really have big problems with people that have multiple sightings. Not unless they're in an area where they are. If they live in the area where they're at. And sometimes I'll swallow their story, but for people to say they just walk out in the woods and see them all the time, I don't know. No. Then you get the guys. I say camouflage. I think I said this at the conference in Virginia, or one of the conferences, famous hockey Hills. I said, you Bigfoot guys, you researchers, say wearing camouflage is dumb, because you think you're gonna hide from them, huh? You think you're gonna hide from them in that camouflage? Think they ain't gonna smell you? They ain't gonna hear you? No, I said your best bet is, and also it marks you as a hunter. They've been shot at before. That makes you wearing camouflage. You might be a hunter. I don't like you. Mm-hmm. I tell them go to Walmart, buy their brightest colored Hawaiian shirt they got. Wear that when you go Bigfoot researching. Take the kids. They love the sound of children.
Really? They do like the sound of children?
Yes.
That's the first time I've heard that one.
Yeah, that's happened so many times where the kids have said, well, a big hairy guy come into the camp and looked at us and walked off. Yeah, and if you want to really make them mad, now I've told this to a couple of people, and one guy got a rock thrown at him and hit in the chest. I felt bad about that. Is the sound of a distressed rabbit call. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to irk them, maybe get them to show up and see what the hell is going on, is play the recording of a chimp screaming or a gorilla hoot. That'll get their curiosity. They'll wonder what the heck. They ain't heard that one yet. Mm-hmm. They'll have to check it out if they're in the area. They hear something like that. But yeah, I told the guy to use a distress rabbit call because Smokey Crabtree from Bogey Creek told me that. That's what he used. And they did. And one guy says, I got hit in the chest by a rock. We started playing that. I said, well, do you think? Well, I was mentioning this at the last conference. I said, they got a sense of humor about them. Because think about this. I said, there's sin standing there in the woods watching you muddle your way through the woods, kind of just, like I've said earlier, big old slug walking through the woods. And they're looking at him for a while. I said, where's the damn rock? I want to hit that guy with a rock. So, they get a little perturbed. I think they just do it for their own entertainment. Where's a rock? I'm going to hit him. I had a guy up run the water company here in Greencastle, Indiana. He said they went fishing in Washington, trout fishing with fly lines. They said they walked out the middle of this lake. Here come a 500-pound rock being tossed out of the woods in the middle of this river, And they said as soon as they saw that,
They just took in their lines, got in their truck, and went to the bar. I mean, they weren't going fishing. He said it was the darndest feeling. World.
Don't go drinking. Well, I was doing an investigation at a cemetery quite a few years ago, me and a buddy of mine, and it's probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. We're sitting there, talking and, being quiet, but, whispering. And all of a sudden, I heard something like cut through the trees, and then bam, within about 2-3 foot away from me, there's a big ass rock that landed and kind of rode down the little hump that was on. I looked at the guys with me. Who the hell threw a rock at 2 o'clock in the morning? He left.
I had one guy just got back from Vietnam, and one started throwing rocks at him at his camp, and he said it sounded like when he was back in Vietnam, when they'd shoot mortar shells going through the trees and going through the forest, except there'd be no explosion at the end, just a big old thud from the rock. But yeah, I think they get quite a charge out of chucking rocks at us.
I think
I'd throw them back when I saw him.
I just sat there and kept talking.
I would. One rock. If I see him and he's throwing a rock at me, I'm throwing one back.
Oh yeah. Now if I seen him, I would chuck one too. But poor Dave, he's gone. He was gone. I was like, where are you running? I got the car keys.
We took a bunch of school principals on a big from Warsaw, Indiana. We went on a Bigfoot expedition one time. I called it that. It wasn't really. It was really basically camping out, walking through the woods in the dark. And there was a poor prosecutor that was coming with the principal. He was related to one of them, and he was a county prosecutor. He thought he was actually going to die in the woods, especially when we were getting ready to go. He kept saying, when do we go? When do we go? And I kept saying, I got to wait a little bit. It's a little too early. Still got to wait a little later. Of course, I'm just jacking with him. Got to go. Then I said, I think now would be good. We'll hit down this Low Gap Trail. Because Low Gap Trail is notorious. It's a good spot. But I said, I got to get something first. So I went to my van and got out my snake hook, and they see me carry that, and they hadn't seen it the entire time we were camping. I said, yeah, I'm taking this with me because we're walking through some of the best timber rattlesnake country I know of. And that poor prosecutor guy, he just basically started whimpering because he didn't want to go. He didn't want to walk in the dark. And he kept telling the other principal, he wouldn't tell me, but he kept saying, I don't want to die here. I don't want to die.
I don't want to die here. Oh, God.
When he told me that, I was laughing so hard, I just brought tears to my eyes. I wasn't lying to him though. It was a good snake. In fact, I called it, the snake that bit me was from that same area. So he was a nice one. He was 6 foot.
Oh well, yeah. I do get a big thrill when people are. Yeah, I know it's probably sick, me being a sick person, but when you're sitting there and you see somebody about ready to piss their pants and you don't want to die there, and you're like, you're not going to die here. It is kind of funny.
It's hilarious. Then I talked to one Bigfoot guy. He won't go in the woods without a gun, without a signed pistol. And I said, why is that? He said, well, in case I run into something. I said, what are you going to run into in Indiana? I mean, we don't have we have a mountain lion here or there, but he can go through the most highly populated mountain lion areas in the country, and I wouldn't mean think about taking a gun with me. But and then I'm thinking, and you're chasing this thing, and you're that scared of the outdoors? My gosh, I hope it walks right up on you and gives you a woodland enema, I would laugh hard.
He'd probably have a heart attack and die where he stood.
He probably would. Yeah, he's a big fella. But it's like, man, it's crazy.
Well, what kind of signs do Sasquatches and Bigfoots live in the woods where people actually think they have an idea of that's where they've been.
Oh, they'll find an occasional track, but it's not necessarily, in the springtime, the male bear will slide his foot during the breeding season in June, in May, June, and July. That basically around that time. I tell people, I said, if you're in bear country and you hear the male bear popping, I said, you just walk the other way because that's not good. That's a bad sign. Hey, you don't want to go there. But they'll slide their foot, and many times in our bear, we've got 2 bears in our enclosure. My wife will look down at the grass and say, look at that track, because they're on dirt. I said, yeah, it looks like a Bigfoot track, doesn't it? I said, I wonder how many times somebody's found with something like that. And their skeleton is the same as a human. If you remove the head and the feet, because this happened in Indiana, they found a skeleton. They thought it was humans. They thought for sure it was human. And then when they took it to the coroner, he started testing. He said, "This is a bear skeleton, but God, look how human-like it is." So yeah, and they don't leave a the bend and tree thing. They might do that. I'm not so sold on it. Some of the other stuff, the walls they build out of tree branches and make it a circle, that could be a possibility. Maybe board or maybe it is a way to mark their territories from other tribes. I don't know, but it's all speculation. Anybody talks about like no, they don't know, because we can't figure them out. They got us figured out real good. Throw a rock at them. Just chuck a nice size rock, and they'll go home. We'll have our place packed.
Well, if you think about it, as a kid, we do the same thing. I know I did, especially if you see little some fishes in a little creek or something. Just throw a rock in there and watch them all disperse. And we're like, okay, that was fun.
Yeah, it's entertaining. So, I'm for sure they do the same thing.
Well, they have to, because especially where they're stronger, faster, and able to elude us, they're like, man, that other branch of humanity sucks. You got to stay away from them people.
And as far as sense of humor, all primates have a sense of humor. That's just fact. They all do. Gorillas, chimps, bonobos, orangutans, gibbons, your monkeys, your baboons, mandrills. They all have a sense of humor. They laugh. They're not dead serious all the time.
Well, do you think that Bigfoot buried their dead, or do they have maybe some type of religious or ceremonial way of disposing of bodies where no one's actually really found them?
Well, I think it might be similar to those 3 young men that got killed in Washington. Covered up with boulders and that sort of thing. I think that sort of thing might go on. As far as burying them, I don't think so. Because, you think about the woods are full of animals. Everywhere you look, birds and whatever. And how many times do you find one dead on the ground? Not very often, unless it was shot by a hunter. But as far as just dead, a bird, they all have to die. Where do they go? Well, Mother Nature takes care of them pretty quick. Whether they're scavenged or whether they just deteriorate, Mother Nature has a good way to get rid of them. So, and people don't realize this. There's more deer than there were here 200 years ago, because of all the farmers' fields and what they like to live on the edge of the forest. Well, we created a lot of that, so deer just flourish, and other animals too. There's more than ever. So people don't believe me. I don't care.
I like that. I don't give a shit what they believe me or not, man. Who cares?
I do. I don't. I tell them that. When I spoke at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service at the end of my speech, and these were like legitimate Secret Service, law enforcement, conservation officers. They're going to school there for, to study basically conservation and that sort of thing. And I told them, and I usually do at the end of the talk, I'll say, how many of you out there think this is a big load of crap? I didn't have one hand come up for that deal. I figured there'd be at least, 20%, 30% would say, why are you trying to feed us? But no. Then they ended up all of them emailing me after the fact. A lot of them had experiences and they wanted to talk about it. And didn't make them feel so darn crazy. And that's still the most popular video they've ever shot at the training center was when we went in there and talked about Bigfoot. But they show it on their app. They show it over 1,200 outlets all the time. Every time I have to go to Washington D.C., I'll stay there, and I'll pop in the room and turn on the TV, and there'll be that stupid video of that stupid animal guy talking about Bigfoot. I go, God, don't you know how many times they showed this silly thing? It was like, my Lord, you need a life.
Do you think that giants and Bigfoots are the same species or creatures, or do you think there's?
Oh, there'd have to be subspecies. Yeah, there's subspecies. There's a subspecies with all animals. So there'd have to be, just like the ones out west are usually reported larger. The skunk apes are smaller animals. Of course, a lot of that I always took a parallel with the mountain lion and cougars and pumas because the Florida panther is a small cougar. It's not a big cat. Well, it is to most people, but not really. 100 pounds. But you get out west, you get mountain lions, you get 250, 275. Whole different deal. They look twice the size. So it's parallel with the Sasquatch. Because I think I don't think, I've told myself it's what happens is they'll follow a mountain lion. They'll follow it and wait for it to make a kill. And when it makes a kill, they'll just come in and chase it off. Take it. I believe that to be true. I believe they do the same thing with bears, too. Of course, bears don't, they're basically just four-legged garbage disposal, so kind of just scavenge all the time. But, I always thought that's what they do.
Well, what kind of hoaxes have you dealt with people that try to, fill you full of bullcrap about what they're showing you, seen, heard, or whatever?
Well, I just listened to them, and then like first time I was invited to come to the speak at a Bigfoot deal was in Ohio, and the newcomers down when Don Keating was running the deal, and he invited me over to speak one meeting. I was kind of reluctant, and I walked up in the parking lot. I'm walking to the building. Guy goes, "You the speaker?" I go, "Yeah, I'm the speaker. How you doing?" And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you. I ain't never seen a Bigfoot, but I've been abducted by aliens, and they stuck stuff up my penis." I come so close just to make a U-turn and go back to my car and drive back home 7 hours. I come so close. I said, "Oh, is this what this is all about? Oh, my gosh." But, yeah.
I mean, I'm one of these people. I'm really open-minded when it comes up to people's experiences and stuff. But
oh yeah,
I've talked to a lot of people, and I've met them face to face, and they told me some of their experiences. And dude, I've actually had beg people pull me away to keep me from laughing in their face. Because there's just so much bullshit. I'm like, seriously? You thought that up? You need to write that down, man. That's a book right there.
Yeah. That's like, I want to meet the guy that has them come over for beer every night. That's who I want to meet. That's the guy I want to know. Tell me that story. But yeah, it's. I had something on my mind. I'll tell you why this Parkinson's. I had something on my mind and I forgot it. Forgot what lie I was going to tell. But yeah, so.
That's what people say about me all the time. I'm like, I got something to say. Damn it, I forgot. Well, you get ready to tell a lie, so it don't matter.
Oh God. It's a real sucker when you're doing a Bigfoot talk, because I don't work on notes. I don't have no slides. It's just me yelling at the people, and I'll get into. And I'm thinking 2 or 3 bits ahead, and I'm thinking, where was I going with that story? It was going to be pretty good, and I done forgot about it. And I'll ask the person, well, what was I talking about before he got me going on this? And they'll tell me, I say, oh, thank you so much, because I didn't know where the hell I was at. I was lost. You know, like,
actually, we went to the local TV station to talk about the Phantom Fest, and I'm so forgetful. And I had my little notes in my hand, and the lady was asking. It seemed like she was asking me the same question over and over, because it seemed like I was answering it the same way. And then when she was going to have it at, I actually forgot. I'm looking at it.
So let me think about that. Did they send that to you in advance? I couldn't tell you. Oh, that's happened to me so many times. My God.
It doesn't make you feel like, well, I shot myself in the foot with that one. Who's next?
Yeah, it just makes me feel dumber than hell. The truth will get out. I'll be in trouble. They won't ask me to come to these things no more.
No, I was thinking about when I got home. I told Amy, I said, I can't believe it. I said, I felt so damn stupid. And I said, I recorded that to watch this. Now watch this. And we watched it. And I said, look how stupid I was.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah. It bugs me if I say something really stupid on television. And I've done that so many times. It's like, why the hell did I say that for? What was I thinking? I wasn't. That's the problem. But,
well, have you been on TV and you've been saying something, and you know, and in your head you start thinking about what you just said, and you know that was just completely wrong, but your mouth keeps moving and stuff keeps coming out.
Yeah. And if you're good at it, you can kind of stretch it around and go back and correct your mistake with them. I'll try to do that, you know. Say, I didn't mean that. What did I say? Don't quote me on that one. Come on. Be my buddy.
Well, what got me today was the girl that was interviewing me. The way she was, sitting all up and proper. She kept turning her head weird, and I'm like, the hell is she doing? I couldn't figure it out. They kept throwing me off. And I kept like, what is she doing?
When you've got someone that doesn't know what they're doing as far as interview, and you can tell it's the same, you know. Here's a typical one for you. We got a sports broadcaster, and the first question he'll ask after the Colts have won, how does it feel to win today? Well, what's the guy going to say? Well, it makes you feel like hell. You know, I realize I've wasted all this week. Now I've made $70,000 or $80,000, and I just feel so bad we won today. What's he gonna say? You know, dumb question. It's like, God Almighty. Yeah.
The guy that's been helping me with this, he I guess he didn't know I've been on TV and stuff before, and he sent me a message, and he's like, Ron, I watched you, and you did great. I said, no, I suck. What the fuck? What are you talking about, man? Haven't you ever watched TV before? That's terrible. And he's like, I thought you did a great job. I'm like,
no,
dude,
here's what you say. You just
fired.
say thank you. No, you just say thank you. Oh, thanks. That's what I do. I never tell the general public I suck. Because I just say thanks. They feel better. Thank you. I appreciate it. snake. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Just say thanks. Don't belittle yourself. You got that's what friends are for. As they've always said. So.
Really
it's like we shot a nature show one time, and this kid, I think his name was Scotty. Scotty's Outdoors. They said, hey, this was years ago. They said, we want to take Scotty on a snake hunt. I said, okay. I said, but sometimes we go on snake hunts and we don't find anything. That's going to make boring television. Well, we did like they used to do on Wild Kingdom. We just took the animals with us. Mm-hmm. We took a rattlesnake, we took a copperhead, we took this, we took that. And basically, we'd find them after we planted them. Well, people watch that and they just go, "Where the hell were you at? Where there were all these snakes?" And I said, "Did you watch that closely?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, I'm thinking to myself, we're walking toward the camera. In other words, when we find a snake, the cameraman's already done tripped over it. So it's. I said, how does that work? I mean, just to show you the gullibility. I did a show called Rattlesnake Roundup, and basically what it was about, Rodney, was I would build a desert with cactus and rock and dens, and I'd go in this desert. My 20-minute show would be me catching Gila monsters and tarantulas and rattlesnakes out of this man-made desert. Well, how it worked, basically, and I can tell it because it's no big deal, but I had boxes inside of the rocks with sliding doors. So I could take my snake hook and open up the box, take the snake out, and talk about him, then aim him back toward the box. And it's dark. He'll crawl right back in on his own. Don't have to do nothing. Then I just close the lid. Well, I'd have people come up afterwards, and we made it so you couldn't see these boxes. I mean, it was pretty cool how it worked. But I'd have people come up to me, and they'd go, "Mister," he goes, "what keeps them snakes up there?" I say, there's rocks and sand and cactus that kind of feel like it's their home. Oh, and if they should crawl off, they know where my truck's parked. And I'll just walk away. They'll give me a look like, what the hell did he just...
What the hell, Lord? What am I going so bad to?
What's that all about? Oh, my God. Then I had a guy, that rattlesnake that I got bit by, I took him to do a show. It was in Pennsylvania. It was in Monroeville. They're outside of Pittsburgh. Their outdoor show. And I just finished the show, and I just had him out. And guy walks up to me. He says, "What is that, a diamondback?" I said, "No, sir." I said, "That's a timber rattlesnake." "No, that's a diamondback." I said, "No, sir, it's a timber rattlesnake." "Now, don't tell me what I already know. That's a diamondback. Timber rattlesnakes don't get that big." I said, "Well, what can I say?" I just had it out. You just got a good look at it. So then I said, he kept getting mouthy with me in front of people. So I thought, he's not going to get away with it. So I told him, I said, "I'll bet you $1,000 right now, and I won't take a check, that is a timber rattlesnake. It's not an eastern or western diamondback." "Oh, okay, I'll take that bet." Ooh. So I had to go find a couple of conservation officers and a couple guides and outfitters from around there, and I got it out, and they all said, "Yeah, it's a timber rattlesnake." "Yeah, it is. That's not a diamondback. It's a timber." Then the guy wanted to fight me. I think what made him want to fight me, he said, I said, "Just keep your money. You're just not that smart." You lose that debate. But anyway.
I had that's one of my friends back in the day. He thought he was a big pool shark, and he came in there at the game room where we was at, and I mean, I was on fire that night. He's like, "Rod, I'll bet you my title to title, your truck and my Jeep." I said, "Lay it down there." And I laid mine down. Shit, 2 shots is done.
Yeah.
He's crying.
Did you let him keep his? Did you let him keep his Jeep?
Yeah. After a few hours, holding the keys and everything in my pocket. But dang, man, I tell you, you ain't never seen a grown man cry before. Ooh. What am I going to tell my wife? Like, you a dumbass. That's what you're going to tell your wife.
Well, my dad, God bless his soul, for some reason one time he bought a pool table. I never knew him to play pool. Never thought he played pool at all. So he gets a brand new pool table. We go down there with my brothers, and he just proceeds to run the table on us, like every game. And we're just like looking at one another. And I guess in the Army, he played pool all the time. In fact, he would beat the Florida State billiard champ on a regular basis. And I told Dad, I said, man, we need to go out to a bar one night. We could make some cash. He says, I would never do that. I said, but my God. It was just ridiculous how good he was. It was just, we didn't know. We had no clue.
I had a lot of uncles and on both sides, mom, dad. I had one that taught me how to hot wire car. Had 3 or 4 of them taught me different ways to play poker, shoot pool, play dart. I'm surprised I ain't in prison.
Yeah, well, it's Virginia. You know what I'm saying?
That's the bad thing. So I know you took a lot of animals to Johnny Carson's show, and I watched Johnny, and I know how he is with animals. Is he really like that with the animals? Did he really freak out, especially any that you brought?
Well, he was good. He never looked at anything. They would kind of tell him what Jim was bringing. And when I first met Jim Fowler, I get a call one day. It was in the summertime, and I'm in the Monkey Building. I get this call and says, "Hello, I'm Jim Fowler from." Did you watch Wild Kingdom? Do you remember the show?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's talking to me. I'm Jim Fowler, and I'm listening. I'm thinking right away to myself, which one of my friends knows how to imitate his voice? That's what's going through my head. So I talked to him for a bit, and I realized it's the real deal. So he was going to be up in northern Indiana. He had an event for some Shriners, and he needed somebody to bring animals for him because he didn't have any animals. And wondered if I'd do it. I said, absolutely, I would. I mean, are you kidding me? You're my mentor. You don't know it, but you are. And so we go up there, and we took animals. And one animal we took in particular was a Celebes black ape named Doc that we'd had, and he was just phenomenal. I mean, he was just so he was just great, just fantastic. And I suggested to Jim after we did the show that night that, hey, he should be on Carson. And he said, yeah, you're right. So when we did the first Carson show with Doc, we went back, I'm thinking 4 or 5 times, because he realized that all of our animals were used to being in front of an audience and so forth, and they didn't freak out. And Johnny was really pretty good with it. Of course, he did get a little perturbed when the Celebes ape punched him in the mouth during the segment. Mm-hmm. And went into his karate stance. But Johnny was the best. I mean, I can't watch animal people on TV now, these talk shows, because they all suck. There's not one that I would say, oh, that was a pretty good bit. They just do. And in fact, Al Jardine from the Beach Boys, I had him on my old Blog Talk show a couple times, and he'd always tell me, he said, Dan, you need to come out to California and do animal. I don't really want to, because I don't want to fly. I don't want to drive. But the thing about Carson was he never looked at the animals. He was good with them, and he wasn't afraid to show some apprehension per se. But the key to it all was he was completely. Now, when Leno came into the picture, and I didn't do Leno because I didn't like him and I didn't want to do it. Guys I know that did do it said he'd be backstage looking at all the animals and asking questions and this, that, and well, that ruins it. In fact, when I do an interview now, and if it's somebody
Now, the people here in Indianapolis that I do regularly, somewhat, they know not to ask me any questions before we do the call. I'll tell them, save it for TV. Save it. You know, if that's a question you want to know, that'll be the first one you ask. I'm not going to tell you my answer. Save it for TV. You know, don't kill it now. Dumb. How do you feel after winning the game today? Well, I feel like crap. You know. Worst day of my damn life.
Yeah, damn it. That's 7 games in a row. Shit. We suck.
Yeah, we suck. We won, but we really do still suck bad. They just suck worse today. Oh, my God. So, yeah. But he was fantastic. We did Merv Griffin was good, too. He was it's fun to do a show. We used to do Mike Douglas. That really ages us. And that was okay. And it was weird there for a while because it seems like every time I go out to California and do all those shows at the gym, Robert Goulet would be on one of them. And Jim would always say, and we just lost Jim, so I can tell it now, but he always say, "Is that Robert Goulet?" I said, yeah, he's on dope. I thought, oh, really? How do you know that? He's on dope. Well, okay, all right.
Wow.
Who else is on dope?
On dope.
Well, but we did Carson. I got a chance to meet Rodney Dangerfield. We sat and chatted for some time. And when Doc was on the Sullivan's, David Steinberg, the comedian, he watched him backstage and how Doc interacted with the table. He'd just get on the table and just bounce it off the floor. It was hilarious. He said, that monkey will be funnier than me tonight. He'll be funnier than I will be. And as he's leaving, he says, I was right. He was funnier than me.
Dang. I always liked Rodney Dangerfield. Man.
Well, I'll tell you, he was in a bathroom the whole time. He did a rehearsal, but his rehearsal was basically for the band, and they could not have aired it. It was rather blue. So that night, what he said, he didn't say anything that he said that night for his rehearsal, and I thought that was kind of funny. Nice fellow, though. We sat there and talked for some time, not necessarily about animals, just whatever. And he was a good guy. In fact, I have to confess, I didn't really meet, of all the times we went out there, met celebrities and whatever. I didn't meet any of them that were really jerks. The only one that was really kind of a jerk was Doc Severinsen. He was, because he had a couple Boston Terriers, and I saw him walking those Boston Terriers. We were done taping for the day because we tape at like 5:30 in the afternoon, their time. And I said, well, there's just some good-looking dogs. Now, just between me and you, I could give a crap about them dogs. I had 4 Timberwolves with me, a couple Badgers. And Boston Terriers didn't impress me, but I just tried to be a nice guy. And he just didn't answer, reply, or say anything. He just said no, just stood straight up in the air. I thought, well, man, what a jackwad you are.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens a lot with celebrities. Have you dealt with any celebrities though on Johnny's show with the handling of the animals?
Not. Well, the Oak Ridge boys were on, and they were real interested in the animals. They hung around backstage with us before the taping, and we talked a lot about them and stuff. And I'd get them out and let them touch them and that sort of thing. The ones that was safe to do that with, I do that sort of thing. And there was somebody else too, but yeah. But it's really the thing that got me about the Carson show was how small the stage was. Now you see it on TV, it looks big. And the audience there was small. I mean, I bet it wasn't much over 100 people that filled the audience. And but it may have been more than that. I don't know. But the distance between the band and Johnny's desk wasn't very much at all. But with the camera angles that they would use, it looked big. but it was an optical illusion. So right next to the Carson show was the Wheel of Fortune set. So I was carrying a badger around, so I had to put a badger on the Wheel of Fortune thing and spin it around once, just to say
cool.
I did it. Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah. What's her name? Vanna White.
Vanna White.
Yeah.
She was much more attractive in person than she was on television.
I can imagine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I imagine a lot about her. I know. Because when she first came on Wheel of Fortune, I was just a young lad, and my grandpa.
Oh yeah, you gotta have it.
My grandpa would
Charlie's
watch
Angels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh Lord, don't even get me started with Farrah Fawcett. Oh Lord. Matter of fact, I was actually getting ready to have an operation. We was talking about the weather, and when they woke me up, I started automatically talking about Farrah Fawcett and Charlie's Angels, and they were laughing at me, and I'm like, why is everybody laughing at me? And they're like, because you just talking and Pierce, about Farrah Fawcett, how great she is, and how that booty and everything, and that hair, and I'm like, what? But they had a big laugh out of me.
I'll bet.
Well, let's see here. What else you want to talk about?
I've heard it all before. I don't. I've heard. Oh, I'll tell you a funny story. Here's one. One of the things you've heard. I don't know if you'd ever heard of Victor the Wrestling Bear.
Yes.
He was in the '80s. They traveled around, did a lot of the outdoor shows and car shows and stuff, and people would volunteer to wrestle this. It was a European brown bear, weighed about 700 some odd pounds. And the deal was, if you could pin the bear, roll it over on its back, and its shoulders touch the mat, you'd get $10,000. Well, the only one that ever come close to doing it was a football player that was with the New York Jets, Joe Klecko. He come real close one time. So, in fact, that's at the Cleveland Sports Show. I would MC the main stage show. We'd have knife throwers, retrieving dogs, and lumberjacks and that sort of thing. And then we'd have the wrestling bear would be last. And 3 guys would get to sign up for each show to wrestle the bear. And I'd walk backstage and I'd see guys flex their muscles and stuff and loosen it up. I look at them and say, do you really think do you have any chance in hell of pinning that 700 and some odd pound brown bear? Do you really think that's a possibility? I think I can. Oh, you're so dumb. So dumb. So it was a Saturday, and we had a nice crowd. It was the afternoon show. A nice crowd. They had a beautiful place for this show. And we'd had the lumberjacks, the log rolling and all that, chainsaw. We had dancing Indians, which is always a big deal. And we had somebody had a dog act, and we had retrieving dogs, and I'd bring an animal and do a little bit with an animal, and then I'd also MC this thing, which would include MCing the Victor the Wrestling Bear. Well, we had this biker guy come up, big, 6'6", blonde hair, leathered out, and he wants to wrestle the bear. The only problem was he was a little inebriated. I mean, you could tell. When he got close to him, you could smell him. So we told him, I said, you've had too much to drink. We can't let you wrestle this bear. No, that's a bunch of crap there. What? No, I said, here's what we'll do. I said, I'll give you a couple tickets to come back during the week. Just don't drink. And you can wrestle him. Oh, that's still a bunch of crap. He's not happy. He's mad. So he walks around to the front of the area, and there was a fence there because we had a big open stage where, they had cypress mulch down and stuff for the lumberjacks and the dogs and places to run and all this stuff and jump in pools. So we do this whole show, and he's over there screaming, hollering, saying stuff the whole time. And all these 5,000 people from Cleveland had to listen to this jackwad for an hour. so we do the wrestling bear bit. Same deal. Bear basically pummels all three of them, send them off the stage bloodied and muscles stretched. They never realized could be stretched. And Victor would get a Kool-Aid, baby bottle filled with Kool-Aid after each show. That was his reward for beating these guys up, because he was just having fun. There wasn't anything cruel about it at all. And they put a muzzle on him because, you know, if you stick your fingers in his mouth, you know, he's going to bite him, even though he wasn't aggressive per se. He wasn't. So we'd taken the muzzle off, and this guy was still over there screaming. So George Allen was his handler, the wrestler. And George says to me, he says, he finally listened to this guy so long, we're finishing up. He says, get him up here, get him up here. So I said, sir, we're going to give you an opportunity to wrestle the bear. The place went nuts. I mean, people had not left their seats. I had basically ended the show, but they stuck around because they thought something was going to come down.
Oh, wow.
So this Cleveland crowd, they're going nuts. They'd had to listen to this guy for an hour. So he gets up there on stage, and I'm telling George, got to put the muzzle back on that bear. Put the muzzle back on. Hell with him. No, you got to put the muzzle back on the bear. So he says, all right, God damn it. So he puts the muzzle, and I told the guy he had to stay off the mat till the bear was remuzzled. Well, he wasn't moving. You know, he thought he was a big, bad guy. He was a tough guy. So the match begins. It isn't within 2-3 seconds. The bear's got him down, basically doggy fashion. The guy's on all fours, and the bear's on top of him. So George comes behind Victor, and the Victor's real name was Sonny. He grabs a big old handful of fur on Sonny's butt, and he twists it as hard as he could, and he's screaming in the bear's ear, kill him, Sonny, kill him. This guy, he's swimming. He's trying to swim out underneath that bear. And this bear just beating him up bad. And, of course, when they first got him doggy style, I said, well, hey, George. He says, yeah. I said, it looks like we're going to have cubs this spring.
Oh, my God.
So he finally got beat up enough. He pulled the bear off of him, and the guy kind of just wobbled off the stage, and some of Cleveland's finest were waiting for him. So it was like, and I told George after the show, I said, man, you need to hire you a biker. I said, you need a big old foul-mouthed biker that doesn't mind getting beat up every show. Yeah. That's a good bit, because everybody thought it was set up. It wasn't. That's what the beauty of it was.
Oh, wow.
It was all spontaneous, and it was funny. It was beyond funny. A moment of Cleveland history.
Now, you was a part of it.
I know. I emceed that stage show for 20 plus years. We had Tahar, the alligator wrestler, who was center ring for Ringling Brothers one year. In fact, this is a funny one. Now we're talking alligators. I get a call in my hotel room, and it's from the director of the sports show. And this is like at 4 in the morning. I said, hello. She says, Larry? I said, yeah. She says, one of Tahar's alligators has gotten out. It's walking through the show floor as we speak. The cleaning crew was eating their dinner, and they just saw this 8-foot alligator walk by. We've got to get a hold of Tahar. Do you know where he's staying? And I said, I don't have a clue. It's some motel off the highway. I have no idea where he's staying. Well, they say they're going to kill him. I said, oh, don't let them kill him. I said, give me a second. I'll get dressed. So I start slapping my face to wake up. It's 4 in the morning. I got to go out. It's in March, so it's colder than heck in Cleveland. So I got to get cold old truck and go over there and figure out what's going on with his alligator. Well, here's the thing with these alligator wrestling shows. One of the alligators, he may have 5 alligators up on stage, but 4 of them have fishing line around their snout that you can't see from your seat, so they can't even open their mouth to bite you.
Oh.
And only one alligator could do that. So all the way over there, I'm thinking to myself, God, I hope it's one of them alligators he already has fishing lined up, because this is going to be a bear. And So we get there, and it's walked down this into the basement of the IX Center, down this cart path where they run their golf carts down into the basement. And that's where it was headed. And it was down there in the dark. And of course now them guys, they were like, they ain't going nowhere near that spot. No. So we show up, and I get a flashlight, and I'm walking down there, and I'm trying to see this alligator. And I look at his nose and say, yep, he's got fishing line on it. Good. It's going to make it twice as easy. So I'll tell you the truth. We carried that alligator out of there, me and another guy. Walked right by those guys and put him back in his crate. And not one of them noticed the fishing line on there. They just thought we were two of the craziest people they ever met. And it was like, man, it was always amusing. It was always an entertainment mecca for those outdoor shows. You had all these people from all over the world that would come to them, either to exhibit or, and then of course all the Cleveland. That show would draw 250,000 people over 10 days. It was a big deal. Major big deal. That's a hunk of people. That's one or two for sure. So it was like, but that was a fantastic show. And we had camels there. Well, I rode camels there one year, and it was. I don't think we got any good camel stories there. Oh, I remember one deal. Now, there's two types of camels. There's the Battson camel. That's the double humper. Mm-hmm. And that's the one that's found in Mongolia and so forth. Bigger camel. And the other camel is the dromedary camel. That's what the one hump. How you remember that is, one hump a D, two humps a B. Mm-hmm. So these guys, I knew, they went to Australia to catch camels, and they'd bring them back to the States, and they'd train them to give rides. Because there's about 250,000 camels living wild in Australia. They used them for the gold rush, and when the gold rush didn't happen, the gold rushers, they just let them go. They set them free. So now they're a species in Australia. So this guy had permission to go. He'd go over and get about 50 at a time. He'd get a cargo plane and everything. And so he'd give camel rides. So he was giving camel rides at the Cleveland Sports Show. Well, this gal wants to go on a camel ride, and let's say this: she's rather big. No, she's not just big; she's large. So they're bringing the dromedary camel into the chute to let the gal ride. That dromedary camel come to the edge of the chute, come to a stop, and it held its heels in it and would not walk into that chute so that lady could climb on and go for a ride. It would not do it. I'm sitting thinking, oh God, this is embarrassing. So then they bring the big boy. They bring the Battson, the double humper. They brought him in the chute, and he did it. He wasn't no problem for him. But those dromedaries, they wasn't nothing to do with that. That was too much weight. So yeah, but that was people would always ask, did the camel spit on you? I said, well, it's not really spit. It's more like vomit. Kind of regurgitate on you. It smelled like rotten cauliflower. And that'd be a wonderful thing to see. Somebody standing by there and looking at the camel as it's tied up there next to the place you climb on to go for a ride. And camel decided he didn't like a person. He'd let him have it right in the side of the face with some good old camel saliva. And that was always good for some good entertainment. I mean, that was I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Well, I know over across the mountain here, there's a farmer. He has a bunch of camels, and he offers camel rides and stuff like that. And when I was taking photography, our class went there, and taking pictures. And I told them, I'm like, yeah, don't get too close. It's one away.
Hell, they will. If they're mad.
She tried to take that picture, man. She had to have it. Yeah, she got it right in her face. And I'm like, well, yeah. Well, you know what I mean?
Well, we had the guy that had brought the camels back. I mentioned to him. I said, hey, if you get any young ones, they'd be a great school. great animal to take into the schools and lecture with. One that's just about 6 months old or so, not big one, but, a small one, about eye level size. And I can still remember the guy dropping it off, and he hollered as he's trying to lead the camel into the yard. It's got all 4 feet basically to a stop. It won't go. And he's telling me, it don't know nothing. It don't know nothing. And I'm thinking, man, it don't. It won't even walk on that damn lead. So it's like, so I ended up, we kind of hooked him to a Toyota and put it in idle at the Toyota, show him how it's done. That worked pretty good.
That'll work. Heck yeah.
Yeah. And then I took him over across the street was a hamburger place, and they had an awning. And, they're weird about something being over their head. So I'd walk him underneath that awning for hours and hours and hours. So he'd get used to that. Low ceilings he'd get used to. And, yeah. Then we had a deal with, they were having a big fancy parade, and they wanted one of the big shots from the grocery store that was sponsoring it to ride a camel in the parade. I said, okay, we'll bring camel. Well, we'd never tried leading a camel in a parade. You see, they have a certain pace they want to go, and parades tend to stop a lot, and it just didn't like that at all. And when we'd stop, it'd start dancing with this guy on its back. So I was looking for a grassy knoll. Right away, I'm leading that camel over to a grassy area so that guy can bail off and we can get the hell out of here, because this is not going to work. It's going to hurt this fella. But, yeah, I had a lot of... And what would happen is they'd have... The guy wasn't smart because their breeding season, they'd have their babies in the middle of the winter out in the camel yard. So when you saw that, a baby camel's, 150, 175, 200 pounds. It's good size. So we'd look out there, and there'd be a baby camel out there in that yard. It's like below zero, so we got to get him in the barn. So it takes 2 people. One guy picks up the camel and runs like hell. The other guy has a rake beating the camel off the guy, so the camel won't kill the guy carrying his baby. So it's like... And whenever I saw that situation developing, I thought, oh, my God, why did I ever say I would do that? Because more than once I'd be carrying that baby running across that yard with that camel after. I could feel its breath. It was brutal, yeah. And as soon as I get in the barn and put the baby down in the straw, then Mom would come up. She wasn't mad anymore. Can't blame her. But didn't want the baby camel to freeze out there.
Oh, yeah. Well,
we used to do nativity scenes.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, that's all right. We used to do nativity scenes, living nativity scenes. We'd bring out animals for that, camels and goat stuff. Churches would do around Christmas. And we had one. I mean, it was cold. And where the camels were going to be, they had a couple of stakes driven in the ground. So we just basically what we do is we put them in a fenced-in area or tie them up to a stake, and we'd sit in our truck with the heat on and for 2 hours while people would walk by and look at the living nativity scene. So it was a cold one. We took the 2 camels out there. Of course, all deserts have winter, so it's the cold doesn't bother them. But what they do is they just sit down. So this preacher, he was gung ho. So we put the camels there, and there was 3 guys that were playing the 3 wise men. We called them the 3 wise guys. And they were standing right next to the camels. So we were in our truck, a little beverage in the truck. And the preacher comes over, and he says, well, could those camels stand up? He says, they're kneeled down. I said, yeah, because it's so cold. That's, they're protecting their legs and feet from the cold. Yeah, but can they stand up? Yeah, they can stand up. So I'd walk over there and get up. They'd get up for a second. I'd walk back to the truck because I wasn't going to stand out there. I wasn't a camel. I wasn't a wise guy either. So pretty soon they were sitting down again. So I'd get out of the truck, walk over there, make them stand back up. They'd stand up, get back to the truck, wait a little bit. They'd sit down. Then I could see the 3 wise guys trying to get the camels to stand up. Wasn't working. They just didn't have the touch. So I'd go over there and I'd make them get up. And it went on for 2 hours, and then we loaded them up and picked up our check and went home. But it was pretty funny.
Oh, wow.
Hey, we got to have these camels. They need to be standing. What are they doing laying around? It's not part of the baby.
I tried to explain it to him. He just wasn't hitting home. And then when I saw the guys trying to get him to stand up over there in their robes, I thought. And it got to the point, Rodney, where all I would do is open up the door of the truck and they'd stand up. I mean, that's how smart they are. I'd see them sit down for a couple minutes. I'd just open up the truck door and they'd stand up. Because they figured if they didn't, I would be heading over that way. I wasn't to hurt them or nothing. I'd tell them to stand up, get up. And they would. They'd accommodate me a bit.
Preacher, I'd be like, dude, can you look the size of their legs? They're kind of small compared to the rest of them. You kind of get cold quick.
Well, think about this. We talk about people that reported, you saw what? You saw a big hairy guy in the woods. What are you talking about? How tall was it? 8 feet tall. Well, what if you come back with a story? Well, I saw something you're not going to believe. It had about a 4-foot neck. It's got these long, skinny legs, and it's got like scoliosis. It's got this big, huge hump on its back. What the hell are you describing? And it can run about 45 miles an hour, and it spits on you. Oh, my God. Or the first person that saw the giraffe when he goes back to the New World and says, there's an animal that has a long neck. It's about 15 feet long. It's got little golf balls on the end of these antennas on its head, and it can run, and kick, and, So, for one saying, there's an 8-foot hairy guy. That doesn't seem so illogical after the discovery of animals like giraffes and camels.
Oh, I agree. 100%. Well, Larry, we got about 8 minutes left. I figured I'd go ahead and see if you got any, anything like far as any plans for the rest of 2019. And I like to kick Google right in the face over that. But, do you have any other projects you're working on?
Well, we do the Facebook. Yeah, we do the Facebook Live show on Wednesdays and Fridays. And Wednesdays at 9:30, Fridays at 10. Basically, this format, I just sit and lie to you for an hour and make up stuff. And we do that. Of course, they can look at me too, which is really discouraging. I mean, that's the beauty of this. I can do this in my underwear, And so when they can have to look at your face, and that's a loyal viewer, I'm telling you. But we do that at 10 o'clock on do what?
I said you can still do it in your underwear when you're doing it on FaceTime or whatever. Nobody unless you stand up.
Right. No, I do. I just have to dress the top part to some degree. A lot of times I don't. I'll just put on a hat. That's me. And then I'm not. We use it to promote our work, to promote my artwork, and that sort of thing. And look for donations to help our animal family, which is greatly appreciated. We need donations all the time. This is a strange life we live. Very strange. Most people worry about putting their kids through college. I have to worry about having enough meat to feed 3 tigers. So
yeah,
it's a whole different deal.
I can see the dilemma.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, people ask.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, people ask me, why do you have the big cats? I said, well, they went to schools with us when they were younger. And then after they finished their school time, what do I do? I can't take them to the Humane Society.
Right.
But I think these kids need to see that sort of thing. They want to see a tiger, and realize why they have to save it. Television and video doesn't do that justice. But to look one right in the eye, it's a whole different deal.
Oh, yeah.
So we use them until they get about 150 pounds or so, and we always have a rule. my wife and I, we say that at this animal's worst moment, if it would really get in a bad mood really quick, could we get it out of here? And when we have some doubts of that, then we don't take it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, we had a black leopard one time. I remember we were using a school program. We were at one school, and the leopard all of a sudden leaped about 10, 12 feet straight up in the air, landed back down on the table, and then did a twisty-turny leap and then landed on the floor. And we looked at each other, and we go, yeah, it's time. After a maneuver like that.
The kids are sitting there going, yay! You're sitting there going, I just shit my pants.
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic. It's wonderful, really wonderful presentation, but anyway.
Yeah.
So if anybody would like to contribute to us, that's they can do it through PayPal. Any donation is greatly appreciated. And to find my PayPal page, it's Battson, Battson @peoplepc.com. And by doing my Facebook live shows and through sales of my artwork too, we use that totally to raise money for the animals. That's what our lives is all about.
Well, you've done a great job, and I mean, I've enjoyed speaking to you these past few years. And got to know you and watch your show. I have a blast with you. I could actually sit back and say, yeah. If I knew you when I was younger, I'd gotten a lot of trouble.
I've heard now through Facebook, I have a lot of adults say they remember me. I have school principals that remember me when they were in elementary school. Uh-huh. And one gal got me on there one night. She talked to me on Facebook. She says, in our school corporation alone, I can think of 5 people that because of you, they became a veterinarian. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, as a matter of fact, this can be. Wow. Or become a conservation officer or something like that, or worked with animals. And I thought, wow. Yeah, I've had many over the years. And it's very humbling, very, very humbling. I used to think, gosh, will these kids remember this show after they get home from school? And one principal said to me one day, he says, there's 2 things, I bet you never thought about. I said, what's that? How many yearbooks you've been in? Oh, well, probably quite a few because they take a lot of pictures. And how many times has your animals been in a discussion around a dinner table that night? Oh, well, I hadn't thought of that either. So that's very humbling. It's kind of heavy.
Yeah, you've touched a lot of lives and still touching lives.
But if they only knew. They had any idea.
Well, if you're that kind of person you really are, it wouldn't be so humbling. I'm just kidding.
No, you're absolutely right. People think, my wife laughs, she says, people just think you're the animal guy. You just love the outdoors. I says, I do love the outdoors, but of course I've got Parkinson's now, so getting around is like, oh my God. The days of hiking and snake hunting, I want to get in that kind of shape again, but it's hard. This is an adventure every day, and it won't kill you. It just puts things in a whole new perspective. Is basically what it does. Yeah. So I've limited my speaking engagements a lot, and I will be at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference this year, and that's the biggie, as you know, in this part of the country. And they asked me if I'd speak. I said, yeah, as long as there's a donation for my animals, I'd be more than happy to. So I'm ready to go speak to that group. That's in May the 2nd, I think.
I think my cousin's been trying to want me to come up there too for that. I don't know. You may have heard of them, yep. Jennifer and George of 222 Paranormal Podcast.
There's so many of them things. They all join me. Why did I just join? Why did I get invited? What the hell? Bigfoot of Eagledale. Oh, okay. They might say something I can get a chuckle out of.
The same way. What did I just join? Oh, God.
I do. I got 3,000. I do not have 3,000 friends. I hadn't ever got up there. I have no idea. Look, when did I approve them? I don't. for doing that. Oh. Somebody said, if you hit this button, you'll get all their posts. I said, I don't want all their posts. I don't have a chance to read them all. My God.
Yeah, I can't keep up with the friends I got that I do know.
Yeah, let alone this bunch. But anyway. But, Rodney, it's been a pleasure. It always is. You're a good guy, and people should support your show. It's a lot of fun, and it's real. That's the most important thing. I hope you get lots of listeners.
I do.
I'm almost certain I drove a few away tonight, but
shoot, everybody loves
I used to call in the Billy Willard show and try to tell them the advantages of aluminum siding. They'd have people call in, and or the importance of a colonoscopy, you know.
Oh,
so
serious. Mm-hmm. I went down that road a couple times. I'm big on that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But thank you very much. All the best.
I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And happy Halloween, and y'all have a great weekend. And anything you want to chat again, just let me know. We'll fire it up again.
All right, we'll do her. Thanks again, Rod.
Oh, thank you, buddy. You have a good night. Bye-bye. Well, everyone, that was Larry Battson. Larry, the animal guy. Good man. Love talking to him. Always got great stories. But there again, I want to thank him for coming on the show. We'll get him back on again here soon. But our guest for next Wednesday, Thursday, sorry. I don't know why I got Wednesday down there for. It should be Thursday. Next Thursday night, November 7th, will be Ken Gerhardt. He's also widely recognized as a cryptozoologist and author who frequently appears on television. So we got another crypto guy coming on. Oh, excited. I love learning about these cryptos and Bigfoots and stuff. It's always amazing. Always fascinating me. But, like I said, everyone come on out. FanaFest is Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. At the Russell County Conference Center, Lebanon, Virginia. I've been promoting this for all year. Everybody come on out and have a good time. And let's see, where's the end of my show? I always have a hard time finding this.
That's it for us tonight. I want to thank everyone that took the time to listen in. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Vibe Radio Network and to Ryan for putting up with us. Also to all the first responders and our men and women in the armed services. Thank you for your service and the sacrifices that you and your families make every day to keep our great nation safe. Tune in next week to another exciting show starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone can go to our Facebook page Within the Chaos, and don't forget to like our page to see upcoming guests along with past shows, postings, or you can also go to my website at www.blackdiamondps.org or blogtalkradio.com/Vibe Radio Network. Also, we have a YouTube channel, so go to YouTube, look up Within the Chaos for past shows. Thanks again. Until next week, everyone have a safe weekend and have a good night. And love you all. Be careful out there.
I'm sorry. But I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!